Let's, it's because you're like, I'm so comfortable with you that
You're just
I'm
like,
like
let's just
not
do
like,
it.
all right. Hey, everybody, if you guys like talks on being an artist, finding your career, your passions, activism, all of it, original music, like my page, subscribe. I am so excited for this week's episode of Tell Me Everything. We are joined by the one and only Donovan Chambers. Say hello.
Hi, the one and only. Wow.
I've known Donovan for years. We used to perform back in Michigan, and now he is living his best life as a professional actor, singer, dancer, choreographer in New York City. So we are just going to dive right in. How the heck are you?
I'm doing good, good as I can be with being in a pandemic,
Yeah.
New York is New York. It's a different New York now, but I'm still living, I'm still surviving, so taking it one day at a time.
What is it? So, I didn't get to tell you this, so this is going to be in the episode. We are moving tomorrow or Friday back to the city.
Yep. This Friday?
Yep.
Oh my God, where?
Brooklyn.
I'm like screaming, like they're like turning down they're like logging off. They're like, they can't do it already. Oh my God, the Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God, you're gonna be back.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. I'm gonna get to see you all the time. I'm gonna bug you.
Yes.
And everybody. So it's gonna be great. But I mentioned that because we're gonna be back in the city, and I mean, since the last time I was there with you, I know it's got to be like so different. What is life like there? Do you obviously you're probably in your apartment all day. Are you doing anything? Are you able to go anywhere?
Actually today, me and my roommates, since we've been together, we went to social distance because we've been living together.
Yeah.
In the park. A lot of people are going to the parks. They're just social distancing. They're taking their time. We didn't go to Central Park. We went to a park that's near us. I live in Washington Heights. So
Nice.
we like walked, and there's like Riverside or Riverbank State Park. It's like right there next to us. So we went there. And we just chill for like a couple hours, and I mean that's it. I when I go out to get groceries, or if I'm running or working out and I want to be outside, that's about it though. But yeah, most of the time I'm in my apartment. It's a very different New York. It's not, especially in the summer. New York is already a different place in the summer, but now with all this happening, it's just it's bad. But like we got to do it if we need to get back to where we were.
Yeah. So last time I talked to you, you were working at, is it SoulCycle?
Yes, and I'm not working at SoulCycle because no one's working. So, but I am hopefully going back to SoulCycle when gyms are open again. So yeah.
So here in Michigan, they've lightened up a few things. Obviously, there's still social distancing, and salons, gyms, a lot of the smaller businesses are still closed, but they did lift the restrictions on some restaurants and all those things. Like if you go, there's certain restrictions in place. A lot of places are like takeout only or pickup only or delivery.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are there places open there yet, or is it all?
Yeah, I mean, like we can still get like everything through Seamless and like Uber Eats and stuff like that, and like certain bodegas are open if they choose to be. But like in grocery stores, like not really like any restaurants or anything like that. They're not really open. If they are open, it's just for like curbside pickup or anything like that. So that's about it.
Okay, very cool. Well, we're just going to dive right in because for those of you who don't know Donovan Chambers and those of you listening, he is an amazing, fascinating person. The first thing I said when we logged on together was that he looks amazing today. He's got new hair.
I do have new hair. This is, what, 6 days old? It's already fading. But, I mean, hey, I love to do wacky shit, so.
It looks so good. I love it. So Donovan is I want to make sure I get all this right. You've got quite a list of titles here. You are a singer. You are an actor. You are a dancer. You are a choreographer. You are a writer. Did I miss anything in there?
I don't write, but thanks for adding it.
I got something wrong.
People, whatever you want, whoever gets me booked and blessed, so go right ahead.
There you go. So what I want people to know, and the purpose of this talk series is mostly for people who want to be an artist, want to be an entrepreneur, want to be anything, and they just want to be inspired, or maybe don't even know how to do it. I obviously love stories like yours because you are a professional actor, a dancer, a choreographer, living and performing in New York City, still living there now, even in the pandemic. And I just love to find out how you went from aspiring to be that to being that. So I guess my first question would be, tell me about growing up. Like where did you grow up? When did you realize that you were really wanting to be a performer?
Okay. I grew up in. I was born in Detroit and lived in Detroit up until I don't even know how old some of them like grade wise. Up until like first grade, first or second grade, and then I moved to Ferndale and then spent the rest of my like Michigan life living in Ferndale before I like went to college. And I I was always like, I'm a male child, so I'm always trying to do something to get attention. And so I was like, what can I do? I'm always trying to do something. And I'm a Libra, so like I'm always bouncing from one thing to the next. And so I would do a lot of singing in the church choir. My mom was a choir director, and so I would be doing that all the time with her. But it really wasn't like my thing. I liked singing, but like I really wasn't. I like more of like Whitney Houston and like pop R&B, and like that's what I was really into. And then so I really wanted to be a professional singer is what I wanted it to be, and I wanted to like make albums. I wanted to like tour as like a pop singer is what I wanted to do. And then I got into musical theater around 8th grade when I saw all my friends doing it, and I was like, I want to do this. Maybe I'll get in. I got in. Thank God. And it's been a ride, or a roller coaster, whatever you want to call it, ever since. And since doing my first show, I like got bit by the bug, is what they say,
Yeah.
and fell in love with it. And I just think it's great because you get the best of both worlds. You get to dance, you get to act, you get to sing in musical theater. And that's what I was like, I'm going to go to school for this. I'm moving to New York. I'm going to do all the shows. I'm going to be on Broadway, you know. So 3 out of those 4 things I have done. 4th thing we're trying, but you know, Broadway goes into like never. So who knows? Who knows? You might have to change plans. Got some Nelson.
Well, like that's so crazy. So just the fact that you're able to sit there and say that you've accomplished 3 out of those 4 things, how does that feel? Like, how does that feel that you, because I love for people to hear, you know, you had this dream as a kid, you had these things, you were introduced to it, you said like in middle school, you know, it created the best of all the worlds that you love, singing, acting, performing, dancing, all of that. Talk a little bit about from when you realized, like, I want people to know that I've performed with Don, and he is amazing. He is an amazing dancer, an amazing vocalist.
You're amazing, stop.
An amazing actor. And when did you, I guess 2 questions. When did you go from realizing I have a skill for this, I'm actually pretty good, and then having the pleasure to perform with you before, knowing that you are amazing, when did you realize that you were better than most, or better than, I'm going to be real, better than you know, better than some of the peers that you were doing it with in grade school, and realizing like, oh, this comes naturally to me, and wanting to do it professionally, and finding that dream to be in New York City, and doing all of that?
Yeah. I don't like to say that like I ever thought that like, you know, I'm better than these kids. I'm like, I can't like stand these peasants. Like, I'm not that kind of person.
No, I would never think that.
I just knew in 8th grade how passionate about it. And even as an 8th grade, like, you can say, well, you're only in 8th grade. How do you know what you want to be yet? You know, you still have your whole life ahead of you. It's just like, I knew then that it was something that I loved, and why wouldn't I pursue something in the future that I love to do? Why wouldn't I make that my main job, you know, to get paid doing something that you love, you know, that's amazing. And so I knew I was passionate about it. And I knew I would say I was more passionate about it than most of the people who were doing it for extracurricular purpose, you know. It was not something to be with friends after school and we got to do a show. It was a great bonding and like great team building, and like in the sense of that, as far as like students and kids. But like, I just knew that it was something more for me.
Yeah.
for them, most people, especially me being a Black gay man
Yeah.
too. In Ferndale is very progressive, and I was very lucky to grow up in Ferndale. But like, just to like be a Black man doing this, I knew it was definitely something more, um, for me
Yeah.
throughout the entire process from there till I graduated. And then I went to Northern Michigan University, and this is where you're going to talk about, where you asked me about skill.
Yes.
And I knew I got my first like rejection, if you want, rejection in school, the school setting at Northern my first year. And it's the first musical where I didn't get cast. And I was like, I'm for sure going to get cast. It was Les Mis. I'm like Les Mis anyway, so like whatever. But like at the end of the day, I got my first rejection. I was like, something's up, and I have so much to learn. And so from that point, I was like, I'm going to be even more passionate, even more adamant and serious about my study and my craft and like what I'm going to do. I had a journal, and I had bullet notes of like my voice, dancing, flexibility, range, and like where I wanted to grow, what I wanted to learn. And I was like, I'm going to check this off, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I need to do. Northern Michigan did not have a musical theater degree at the time. They do now. Fun fact: I just found out they have just made one. So don't want to say that I like kind of started that, but let me tell you, I was making my own musical theater degree at Northern Michigan University. So I realized though that once I was doing it, I was getting cast in Northern. I was getting cast a lot. I was getting put in everything when they were like, "Oh, he actually has something here." And and a lot of times it's not like they didn't figure I did. Some things I'm not right for. Also, I was a freshman. So I gotta work your way up. Seniority and all that stuff. But I knew that I needed something more, and I wasn't getting the right teaching in some of the aspects that I wanted. So I transferred to Oakland University back downstate and to pursue a degree in musical theater. And that's where I was getting the real good training. Yeah. And I knew that because I knew I did Little Shop of Horrors at Northern now with Seymour. And it was that where a really good person in my life, she's kind of like my surrogate mother, told me that like she was like, why are you here? Not to like bash on the school or anything, because Northern Michigan is such a great school and people should go there, especially now that they have a musical theater degree. They're doing great stuff. But like they're like, why are you just limiting yourself to where you are right now, where you're so young and you should be pursuing this, especially since you can do all of these things. And I was like, you're right. Why am I doing this? And it was so great because my best friend also was there too, and I was going to go with him. We were living together at the time. It was great, and I got in. By the grace of God, I got into because I had missed the audition period to audition for OU, and thank God I knew her because she knew the head. And that's not like about like, oh, it's like a favor or anything. Like I still had to send in videos and all this stuff of me doing monologue, singing and dancing to the head, and then he had to assess from there because he was already done. He already had all the incoming classes that he had. Yeah. And so I said, and by the grace of God, he said, I want you and we're going to work with you. And I said, thank you. I promise I won't let you down. And that was the end of that, So I knew, I know. So that's why I don't ever think of me being better than myself or better than other people. I'm always constantly worried about like myself and like, how can I better myself? Yeah. Because I can always excel and, push beyond my limits. There's no end to it, So like I don't want it to be end. I don't want to hit a wall. So, and I've always known that. So like I just knew that there was something more for me.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's like, I have so many things to comment on that. First of all, just the fact that you had the wherewithal at that time that you had decided that I need to go to school, I need to figure this out. And in school, what a beautiful concept that your first rejection was also your first part of your journey of like, oh, like it's so crazy because I know some people who have that. And when you're early on in your career, early on in your journey, a rejection can be so hard and so crushing because you're so fragile in your belief that you can do this thing. And then for someone to say, no, it's not yet, for you to take that and to turn it around into like, no, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I should be doing this. I love this. I have the talent. I have the skills. And now I just have to like hone them. And like the fact that you had the journal, that you were writing down all these things, and then that catapulted you to a place where people were noticing your talent, people were noticing your ambition and your skills. And like you said it perfectly, it wasn't any sort of favor or anything done. You made that happen because of your talent and your skill and your determination and drive. And then this woman sees that and says, you are so much better than this place. And like you said, not to knock the school, but you are so much better than this place. You really need to be, and it takes people in our life, I feel like, to do that, where you only know what's around you. You only know what you've done. And so for you to like have somebody in your life to say, and to become a mentor, like you said, she's your mother, like your surrogate mother, like to say like, I see something in you and you're good and you deserve to do, like go after bigger and better things. And then for you to take that advice, that's incredible. And, I applaud you because like I said, I keep bringing this up, but I've gotten to perform with you and I see that. I've seen that drive. I've seen that, like, I will not take anything less than this. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show up on stage. And if the people around me aren't doing the same, I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to worry about myself and do the best that I can do. And it is really inspiring because, to see you do that is really powerful. So you auditioned, you sent in all your stuff. Walk us through the transition from being at Northern Michigan into OU, which is really crazy because up until maybe a couple years ago, I didn't realize that OU is one of the top musical theater schools in the country. And it's
now I think it was voted like top 10 underrated. I like, as far as like top, I don't know, because like there's like I auditioned for other schools before I had got into OU, like, and I was going to be a vocal performance major, which that was not going to be it, y'all, at all. I have seen not this vocal performance major because they are amazing, but like that was not me and my style. I was just like, it wasn't going to cut it for me.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I love people.
There's more to offer than that.
I love it. I love the drama. Transferring from Northern to OU, it was a real big step in my life, especially since I had already finished 2 years at Northern when I transferred. So like I already have made this like group of people, made these friends. I was choreographing. I was working at a youth theater up in Marquette, Michigan, where Northern is. And like I was getting booked. I was working professionally up there too. Like I was booking leads and all this stuff. So I was like, it was a lot because I already made a name for myself in a place where I was going to school. And to start it all over again was kind of ridiculous. Especially since I was like I was working, but like I was also still getting more rejection again, going into my first year. Not as like early on as Northern was, but like I still booked when I got there. I was doing shows. I did a lot more straight shows there too, rather than musicals, which was great because like I needed more training in that anyways, and it's definitely helped me in my acting skills. But it was a lot, especially since like I only had one friend there at the time that I knew, and meeting new people, especially musical theater majors, can be very catty, and they know it, and it's no tea, no shade, but like they know. And it was a very tough challenge, but I knew that I was there for a reason, and someone saw something in me, and I couldn't let him down. So like I was like, I have to step it up and I have to be better. And I learned so much in like the 1 year than I did in the 2 years I had at Northern, which is crazy. And not to be ungrateful or I didn't learn anything at Northern. It's just that the fact that I got better control over my voice in a year was insane, like rather than the 2 years it had to take before I could even like do a lead role at Northern in a musical, So I would just like say like it was just an insane ride, but it definitely like also woke me to, I was like, this is where I definitely need to be. Like I got more assurance, especially after major standing. So like they were like, this is it for you, because you can go throughout this entire thing and like I'm not saying that like I knew that I was going to be doing this. I knew that it was always going to end up like this for me, because you don't know. I am still going through like days of where like, am I doing the right thing, or this is something what I do, and I wake myself out of it. Like, of course it is. You wouldn't have been doing this since the 8th grade if this wasn't what you wanted to do, you know?
For
So
sure.
like, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane too, because I think where you saw like that transformation in that year, and I think it's another testament to your hard work, because you were presented with a greater challenge, harder work, harder rehearsals, bigger obstacles, and that kind of like, you kind of hit the ground running, and like you said, you felt more sure than ever that this is what you were supposed to do, you know. And did you ever feel like, it's so funny you mentioned about being at Northern and then transferring, because they didn't have a program and now they do have a program. And I had a very similar experience with my school, because I went to a small liberal arts school. They didn't have a program, but like you said, I was like one of the few people that are like, I could picture myself doing it. I had no idea what it looked like, but I could picture myself doing it professionally after college. Like that was my goal. Like I wanted to do this. I didn't know if I was going to be poor for the rest of my life, but that's what I wanted to do. And very few people saw it that way, because it was more, like you said, like an extracurricular. It was something fun to do with friends. And I did have people approach me during that time and say like, definitely keep your eye out for bigger things, you know, keep pressing the gears and all those things. So when that happened, did you ever see yourself, like you said, you felt more sure than ever that that's what you were supposed to be doing? Could you imagine yourself or picture yourself in a lead role or living in New York performing? Like, had that kind of conceptualized in your brain, or was it still kind of like, this is definitely the next goal, but I don't know what it looks like?
At the time, I mean, I always imagined being here in the city and working and doing shows, and I really never really thought about, there's like roles I definitely want to do, in like dream roles. I never really thought I was like, could imagine myself doing like, because it's so weird. Like you can say like, I imagine myself, or like I have my dream of like being a lead on Broadway and like taking the bow at curtain call, and you see it happen for these people, especially when you're here, and like you see it on a regular basis, and it becomes a sort of like not a surreal thing anymore, which is crazy. And I'm saying it because like it is real. Like it's because you're watching something that's real now, and it's not something that like it's just in your head anymore. You're seeing people, and you start knowing people who are in these shows and who do work on Broadway and are taking these bows, and you're like, that's when it's more like, wow, I can't believe this is happening. When you know people on
Yes.
Broadway and you go to their shows and you see them and they bow after and then I would say, let's say this, I went to see Beetlejuice, and my friend Dana plays the Girl Scout in Beetlejuice, and I was like, Dana, I'm coming to the show. She got me tickets. It was great. I took my roommate. It was amazing. But we didn't know that she was going on as Lydia, who is the lead girl in the show that night. And she didn't know until like 30 minutes before. So like she was like, I'm getting out this Girl Scout costume, putting my wig on, and getting out and going to do the damn show. And she did the damn show. And
Nice.
That's a surreal moment when you're like, I know this girl and she's doing it and she's killing it and it's amazing. And she takes her bow and you're like, you're proud, and you like, you are so happy and full of optimism for your life too. Because like if not saying that if it can happen for her, but like if you know people who can do it, it does happen. You know, it does happen. It's a lot because you're auditioning here with so many people, but like it does happen for people. You know, yeah. It's not something that's like. That's what I'm saying. It becomes more of a real thing. You know. So now it's like it's hard for me to imagine it because like I have to like really be at a place where like I know it's just going to happen because there's so much that goes into it and it's so much in the business that like could like make or break that for you, you know? So like I don't try to like think like that, and not saying that like I don't try to like dream big. It's that because I do dream big, I still believe and hope to God that I will be on Broadway, you know? And but I know I'm more of a realist about it. I know that like I'm probably going to start off swinging or in a chorus or something because I dance. And like, and that's just it, you know. I know I can sing lead roles, but like it's like I know where I know what my type is, and I know where I will be put at right now in this moment. Like I'm only 24. I'm gonna turn 25 this year, so like it's just like so it's just like I know what it is right now. Like if I'm auditioning for something younger, of course I'm gonna think that I'm gonna be more of a lead and not in the ensemble of something. But like if
Yeah.
it's like a huge heavy show and it's a lot of dancing, I'm gonna audition for the ensemble because I know that like it's a better shot for me to do that. And then you start and then you build up and then
Yeah.
it becomes more of a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't think about a Tony Award right now, you know, because
Right.
like I'm worried about getting to Broadway right now. Like
Yes.
the Tony is later.
Yes.
The Tonys come later. I'm worried
Yes.
about getting to Broadway. So like that's what it is.
Well, no, I mean, I think it sounds so perfect. There's so many things about that too, because like one, you have a tangible goal. You have a very tangible goal, and not only do you have a tangible goal, but you have lived it, and you know you've ate it, you've slept it, you've breathed it enough to know exactly how you've seen your peers do it and how the trajectory goes. And it's so interesting because what you were saying earlier about you know your friend and seeing that whole thing play out, like this is a person that's in my life, I know them, they're no different than me, and I've seen them do this, they're on Broadway, and then I've seen them go from the track they're doing to play the lead, and I see that all, and it makes it that much more real because you're seeing it happen in real time with a community that you have you know fostered and created yourself. And it makes me think of I don't know if you know Dak Shepard's podcast. I love
Yeah.
his podcast. Yeah. And he had 50 Cent on there, and he was talking about exactly what you were saying about how a lot of times when we have these dreams and we may not know the step-by-step process to get there, we oftentimes bend the universe around us, meaning like we if we see something we like, we move towards that thing and we start to like shape that around us. And so it's so perfect what you were saying because you had this dream, you're in New York now, and you're, you know, just because you've placed yourself in the community and in the area where it happens, Broadway isn't only one place, it's only in New York. So you placed yourself there, you're making friends with other artists, you are an artist yourself. And so that is like shaping itself. And I have no doubt that you're going to be on Broadway. Um, you know, first and foremost, because you're super open and kind and talented and like all those things, but because you're also doing it, like you're also making that happen. And I think that a lot of things that people don't understand with creating a dream is the more that you place yourself in it and the more that you put yourself close to the people that are doing it, the more that your brain can like realize, oh, this is a possibility because the people around me who are doing it are no different than me. So that is amazing. So walk me through. I know the pandemic has changed so many things for everybody, you know, across the country. But walk me through. So you were working for Soul Cycle, and you know, doing the whole thing, auditioning, performing, and everything. What was life? Walk us through like what was life like before the pandemic hit and like your goals, what you were working on, how you liked your job, and then
Yeah.
kind of like how you are thinking now that the pandemic's here and like what your thinking is with the future.
Yeah, for sure. I before the pandemic, like even moving here, just moving here in general, like it was crazy. Crazy in a good way, and bad way sometimes. I was working at a restaurant before Soul Cycle because of my friend Christopher got me a job and he helped me. You know Christopher, my friend Christopher, your friend Christopher, our friend Christopher. So he helped me and him and Steven, honestly, I thank God because like I would not be here without them.
Mm-hmm.
And literally was working and auditioning and getting no the entire time,
Yep.
which was crazy. But like I was prepared for it, you know, and that was
Yeah.
that first rejection period. And I was like, I knew straight up, and people told me, you're gonna get a lot more no's and you're gonna get yeses. And I've taken that to heart because I now have thick skin. And like it's like I have a no, whatever, I gotta go. I get more, and then you know, it's like the being happy for your friends who audition with you and get in and you don't, and it's just like you be happy for them, you have thick skin. It wasn't for you, it's not meant to be. Sometimes it's not meant to be, you're not right for the show. So
Right.
you know, one door closed, another one opens, you know. I was so I was just working and I was auditioning. The biggest thing that I was doing though was networking, and that's what I still do, you know. I made friends with one of my managers at the restaurant. Like we're really good friends now. He's in Company on Broadway right now.
It's amazing.
When it comes back up again. But he has a friend that he did Sideshow with when Sideshow was revived on Broadway. And she was directing Rent in Long Island City here in New York. And so I was just literally, I was at a party in Brooklyn.
Like you do.
I party is still, I'm young, I'm trying to thrive, So I was at a party on the rooftop and I got a text from him saying, hey, you just want to do Rent? And I was like, what do you mean do I want to do Rent? And he was like, well, my friend's directed Rent and she needs a person of color. And I'm a person of color and she wants a person of color in the ensemble to fill a couple tracks. And I said, how much does it pay? That's the first question.
Right.
When is it happening? And what does she need from me? And so he was like, well, it doesn't pay at all. And so I was like, oh, okay, but I'm doing this. And I had just got a new job dog walking too. So I was like, I don't know what to do. But given at this point, it was already a year since I had performed. Like since I moved, so I performed the summer before I moved here at Hope Summer Repertory Theater. And then a year went by of me just auditioning and working. And
so you had been in New York for a year at this point?
Yeah, and like literally a year to this text. And then I got the text saying, do I want to do a show? And so me thinking about it, I said, even if I'm not getting paid, I want to do a show. It's been a year since I performed, which is the longest I have gone without doing something. And so I was like, I want to do a show. And it's Brent, let's do it. So I didn't have time to like do any audition or send a video to her, but I had reels. So I was like, you can take this dance reel I have and send it to her, and so she can see that I can dance. I don't know how much dance we're going to be doing in Rent, but like you can send this to her. But I was like, if she wants to hear me singing, I have all of these videos on my Instagram, and she can look at that if you want. And he was like, okay. So what he did was send her my dance reel, and then he sent her my Instagram. And from my Instagram, I literally that night, I got a text from her because he gave her my number too. And she was like, hi, I really want you to be in the show. Can you do it? And I said, yes, I can. Let's work. So, which is crazy. I got cast from
I want people to hear, like, so there's so many crazy things. So you had been in New York for a year. Talk about synchronicity. A year to the day, you get that text. You aren't like asked to audition. You were straight up asked to be in a show. And then the fact that you were living it, that you were performing, you were filming yourself singing every day on Instagram, out there for the world, living your life, that you had those tools in the snap of a finger on your phone, that you didn't have to. And that's like what's so crazy that I'll touch on really quick too, is like, I think the business game has changed so much with just auditioning and acting and everything across the board, because social media makes it so easy for people to see you. And I think it reflects more, and people will disagree with me, but I think it reflects more too, because the more that you put yourself out there genuinely and sincerely, the more that you're practicing being yourself, which is like a casting agent's dream. They want you to be yourself.
Yeah.
So that is crazy. So, okay. So she offers you this project. She sees you singing, she sees you dancing and everything like that. And then what happens next?
And then I go start rehearsals. I did not meet anyone. Most of the people most of the cast met each other at auditions. They're like, I remember you from the audition, or I remember you from the audition. I was like, I didn't audition. Nice to meet everybody. And people were like, you didn't audition? I was like, no. And then Lauren, like me and Lauren, our director, and she's amazing. She was sick the first couple of rehearsals, so she wasn't there. But when she finally got there, she was like, hi, you're the only one that I haven't met. And we were like in a cast. It was the entire cast. So it was like awkward. I was like, oh, hi. And so she's like, oh, like, Donovan, like, get an audition. I put it on Instagram. I was like, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So everyone was like, oh, so he's getting cast on Instagram. They're like jokingly, but like, like I was like, guys, like seriously though, I got cast on Instagram. Like not in like a shady kind of way, but like everything is like this now. Everything is this fast. So like I was like, in the moment, I was like, well, this is how fast it's going to be. If she wants, I have videos I can send you right now. And this is most of my singing videos are me performing or on my Instagram. Like, why not? Why would I not promote myself on my Instagram as an actor, singer, dancer? Because that's what I do. And that's what people want to see, you know, like, and it's easy for people to see. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. And if they do, they do. Like, that's the end of the day.
Right.
And so we go to rehearsals and we're doing the damn show. And the show is done. And I did my first show in New York City. It was Long Island City, so Queens. But like, hey, I worked, and I can say I have done a show here in New York. Is what I'm saying. You know, I'm like that was a check mark, like off of my like 4 or the 3 out of the 4. You know,
yeah.
It's like, I did shows in New York. It wasn't Broadway, but like, I did shows in New York. You know, and like I doing it for the first time. I said it in like our like cast circle before we did shows. I was like, I'm just grateful for everyone because, and to Lauren especially, because I am able to say that I am living a dream. And even though it's not Broadway, and even though it may not be big to some people, but like who outside of New York, not growing up there, can say that they can come to New York and do a show, you know?
Right.
So like, and like with a great person, my director was on Broadway, and like, you know, and I met all these great people. Like our Mimi did the 25th anniversary tour of Rent. And like, I've met so many great people, and like, it's just networking. I got that because I networked with Javier, and he knew her. He knew I was person to cover, and he knew that I was good, which is good, and I was a kind person. People want to work with people. They don't want to work with actors. People want to work with people. And talented people help. It helps, you know? So like, that really was how that all came to be. And then from there, that kind of like took off for me doing other things. Like after that, I wrote and performed my own. Wrote as in like, when you were like, I'm a writer, it's like, I'm not really a writer, but like, I did write my own solo cabaret, and I performed.
He's a writer, folks.
No, it's easy to write up or talk about your life, obviously, but I'm not sitting here writing like fairy tales. Like, girl, I'm not that creative, but like, I can sit here and talk about my life. So, but I did write my own solo cabaret, and did that, and like had people sing with me, a duet and a trio. And I got to perform that here in New York City, which was great. And then from there, I did, oh God, what else did I do? I did Scottsboro Boys in New Jersey, which I also got via friend. I didn't audition. I sent in, they needed another person to fill the spot. And then who's actually my roommate, he's in the other room right now, but he was like, asked me and my other roommate, does anyone want to do a show? And we were like, the show you're in? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and he was like, send me your stuff. And so we both sent in for it, and I got it. And Darian was very supportive of me, so it was like great. So like, you know, I got that from also just knowing people, and then, you know, having a but not at this time I had a vocal reel, which was great. So I had a vocal reel, I sent in, and a dance reel, and that was it. And then the director got back to me. He was like, I want you to do the show. And I was like, great, let's do it. So I did Scottsboro Boys in New Jersey. And that's literally like up until pandemic. So that's what I was doing. So like literally I like 2020 right off the bat, starting with the show. And I was in like January, February. And then I booked Cabaret in Michigan, and I was supposed to be coming home to do Michigan. We were supposed to start rehearsals, what's the day, the 27th, 2 days ago. So, but that got canceled.
Yeah.
So, I was going to go home to Michigan. I was going to do Cabaret for like a month in the summer, and now we're here at Pandemic, and
crazy.
Yeah, that's everything leading up to now. So
that's nuts. So you said so many amazing things. And this is why I love doing this, is because people are getting to hear how you made these things happen. And when I say you made these things happen, you are saying like, you know, I did this show that was in I think it was Queens, you said, right?
Yeah.
In Queens. You are performing in New York. Even in the outer boroughs, you're performing in New York City. You're making your dream happen. So you make this dream happen. And it may not look, and this is why I want people to hear this so much, and because I even struggle with this, is like, we're always struggling with where we're at in our journey, because it's so hard for us to figure out how we're going to get to that place where we think we should be. And for you to have the gratitude in the moment, and even now, to know I did the show, it was in Queens, it was outside of the city, but it was a step. I performed in New York, which was a big, bucket list thing. And because of that, you networked even more. You had networked to get that job, but then you networked even more doing that. You were connecting to Broadway performers, you were connecting to people that were in the industry, and then from that you continued to move forward. Then you got creative yourself and wrote your show and did your cabaret, which you're also networking. And then from that, just by just because you're doing these things, you're getting more and more material, you're getting reels, like you said. And for people who are listening who don't know what a reel is, it can be a mixture of things. If you're an actor for TV or film, it's just video reel of your performance. If it's for musical theater or for Broadway, it's singing, it's dancing, it's reels of performances from you on stage. And so you're getting all these things, which is continuing to make the stream happen. And so from there, you get another opportunity. The people that you're living with are seeing that, you're getting opportunity through that. And it's all because you've done like a culmination of placing yourself in that, but then going after these things. And now most people would say, oh, if it doesn't pay, I'm not going to do it. But because you did that one, you met so many other people that were connected, and that would lead to greater things. And so it's good to hear, because I think for people listening that it's hard when you're in whatever place you are in your journey to figure out, like, if I do this thing and I'm not making money, or if I do this thing and it's like not a big deal, I'm never going to get to that place where I'm going to be. But you need to do those things in order for them to open other doors. Even if they're, like you said, one door closes, another one opens. Even if they're tiny, they're going to eventually lead to other things. And it takes time, so that blows my mind. And that like makes me so proud as your friend, because, it just makes me believe even more so. I know I've already said this, but it makes me even believe even more so that you're going to be on Broadway one day, because those are just natural steps, like the ladder of you doing that. And like you said, you made a great point too, that you're a kind person, that you have gratitude. And so you are grateful for those opportunities, but you're also enjoying yourself. You're also making friends. You're also having fun. And like you said, and I know this for a fact, is like, the people are, when you're in an audition, when you're in the room, whether it's for TV, film, theater, whatever, people want to hire, like you said, people, not actors, quote unquote, like someone who's trying to play the game. First of all, a lot of people can notice that right away, is when you're trying to play the game. But also when you are a genuinely kind person and you just want to do the work because you enjoy it and because you like the people you're with, people want to, they want to hire those people all day long. So that is really incredible. And so let's transition to the other side of that with the pandemic. So you said, all these opportunities, they kind of closed the doors with the pandemic. What is, New York look like? What is it, when things start, walk us through that. Like when the first cases start showing up, what are you thinking? What's going on?
Well, when the first cases here started coming up, I was like, well, I work at a gym. And we were already like doing like the 50% capacity thing for people. As a soul cycle, you ride on bikes and you're like this close to the other person. You're here and she's here. So we had to do it where like, you're here, open bike, another person. And we're like, this is ridiculous, especially for soul cycle, because our whole thing is supposed to be like, let's like be a community, let's ride together, yeah. Let's go out. Like it's more of like yoga on bikes, a dance party. But like it was already so awkward. So like, I don't know how they're gonna keep this up, because we can't do that. And sure enough, we couldn't do that. So, but funny enough, I have booked cabaret during the pandemic. Like I was already in quarantine here in New York, and I got the email saying, can you be a part of the show? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, because I don't want to be here. There's nothing happening right now. Because Broadway had shut down before my job had shut down. So I was like, what's the point? Then why are we auditioning? Who's going to be going to Pearl or Ripley? Because everything shut down.
Right.
So I was like, of course I'm going to take the show in Michigan, because at the time, you guys weren't showing cases. And if you were, it was like one person, and that person was quarantined. So it was like, I'm going to go and do the show, And at the point, it was like, we're already prepared to postpone if we go into lockdown and everything. And sure enough, we went to lockdown and my show got postponed. And we're like, okay, we'll find out hopefully soon if we're going to be doing it in June or it's going to get canceled. So, And then eventually got the email and it got canceled. And I was like, it was sad. It was like my last bit of hope to hold on to in quarantine. But like I knew I was being realistic about it, and there's more things going on right now rather than a show that I could be doing, or I have many other chances, hopefully, to be doing. And they are going to honor our contracts if they decide to do it in 2021, So like I still have a show technically lined up in a year, but I have a show.
Yeah.
Which is funny. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year, where we're all going to be in a year, but
that's the crazy thing is that like that's where my mind goes, like I said earlier, we're moving back to the city. I have online projects that I've been hired for, so there's like that I'm grateful for, but like my goal has never changed, and I'm sure you're the same way, where I still want to do these things. I would love to do TV and film and Broadway and all these things. And I've gotten the best of both worlds, where I've worked professionally in Michigan and professionally in New York. And to go back there and still want those same things and not be sure what it's going to look like, that to me tells me, and I know you're going to say the same thing, is that like I want to do this no matter what. So whatever kind of capacity or format it looks like, I'm still going to do it. And I love New York City. Like, I want to be there. I want to live there. And so that is nuts. So now, have you heard anything from your work or anything like, or Governor Cuomo is like, is there any, like, I know right now in Michigan, I think we're going until June 15th, and then they'll see. I'm sure it's going to be lengthened, but what is it like there?
As far as like work and Soul Cycle, like they contact us, and like I was like temporary furloughed, so like and I'm still temporary furloughed now. So that means hopefully I'll be able to come back to my job when it reopens. But like it's we don't really, I just like things I can't talk about. But as far as like a Soul Cycle employee, but like I can say this because it's a known fact, but like they reopened Dallas, and they reopened some other studios.
Yeah, and some of the ones that are more like the curb has happened, it's safer.
Like Texas is reopened. Like the whole state of Texas was like, nah, we're good. So in Arizona too, we're like, we're good. Go have fun, be in lockdown. And it's like, it's gonna spike up. Okay.
Yeah. It's scary.
But that's about it. Like they are like, they're taking it one step at a time as far as like what we're getting from our city officials and the governor. But Cuomo is killing it. So like,
I completely agree. Well, I could talk to you forever, Don. I love you so much. But I do have one more question. I love to ask people this because you touched a little bit on it. I am a fitness and yoga and meditation addict. I swear by it. I work out every day. And it's really something that helps me just kind of like realign myself, especially with meditation and with yoga. You are a fitness professional. You work and you train at Soul Cycle. You're one of the class trainers, right?
No.
Why did I think you were?
I was like, no. A lot of people think I do. Well,
I'm telling all sorts of lies, America.
And stuff. No, I just work at Soul Cycle. But like, I do take fitness very seriously, as far as, especially since I'm a dancer and an actor. Like I try to keep everything like up and running, But like, no, everything you said is like what I feel. So
good.
You're right.
So I say all that because the last thing I like to ask people at the end of the interview is, in yoga and with meditation, and even when I'm working out a long run, I try to take those moments either at the end of the workout when I felt like I've done something really good for my body, when I had that moment of stillness or moment of peace, and I try to really think of love and light, positivity, like you said, the gratitude for the opportunities that you're getting that you hopefully will have in the future. Having said that, I love to ask people, what is the love and light in your life right now? Like what do you see love and light, whether it's in your work or whether it's in, being at home? Like what is that to you right now, and how do you see that in your art?
I definitely will say the friendships that I made and like being able to do this is like was keeping my sanity and be able to like see people. Especially I've been feeling very nostalgic lately, and it's really bad in quarantine. I've been doing this thing where like I have been listening to every single show I have done, which is not good, especially if you're a crier. So like I have been doing that, but like what's good about it is that I have reached out more and I've been able to, and I've been contacted more, which is crazy, from like people in the past. So like right now I got contacted a couple of days ago to start teaching some Zoom dance classes.
Yes.
The youth theater I worked at in Marquette, Michigan. So like I'm gonna start doing that very soon here. I've got to figure out what the themes are. There's a new theme every week, and like I choreograph to that. I don't know what level I'm gonna be teaching at, but I'm very excited, especially for that. I started choreographing again, which is great. Finding time to do stuff and not this quarantine for.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Donovan Chambers, DONAVON. That's what will trip people up, but last name Chambers of Secrets, like that'll help you remember that. You can find me on Instagram at donovan.chambers. Once again, that is DONAVON. My Twitter, you can find me on Twitter. Here's the thing, I always forget my Twitter handle. It's Donoman_13, I'm pretty sure. So this is going to trip up. Now it's DONOMAN. _13. I'm just gonna check just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure it's what it is.
And I'll have all the links on the YouTube channel too. So if anybody wants to check that out, which I hope you do, all the links will be available too.
Yes.
But do you have anything coming up?
I did until they were like, everyone stay home. So no, I am. You'll probably see more of like online stuff, like Zoom performances that like I've been asked to be a part of and stuff that are going to be going online soon. I post a lot mainly to Instagram just because that's where everyone is, and that's obviously how I booked a lot of my stuff. So I'm going to be posting some like musical stuff soon, especially since I've been feeling nostalgic. I feel like a lot of something that I really want to do is to post something like a clip a day of something that I have recently done or I've done a while ago if I have videos of it. If you're watching this and you know that we did a show together, you got videos, you know where to send the stuff to me, so send it my way, please. But yeah, so that's what's next for me. I'm leaving New York for like 2 weeks. That's about it. But I'm going to.
Are you coming back to Michigan?
No, I'm going to Georgia to be with my sister for a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. But yeah, waiting for this to be over so I can jump back in and do shows.
Yes. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to put this out into the atmosphere for people to hear your story and to be motivated and inspired. You are fabulous and beautiful and amazing, and you always inspire me. And I can't wait to see you so soon.
Oh, so soon. Wow, that was a great gift. Look at that. Look at God.
I try. All right. Well, I will talk to you later, Don. Love you so much. And
love
I will see you soon.